don't know. I like this. Yeah, well, Scaled and Icy is bad, actually. No one asked you. 29% off MSRP. Get the new RAV4 with no money down.
And here's Victorious Victor.
I am the greatest reactor to music that's ever lived. I be clocking shit that I don't even know exists. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jerry Bees, and I'm very excited today as we are getting back into 21 Pilots. 21, whatever the French word for pilot is. I know that when I usually do my journeys through bands' discographies, artist discographies here on the channel, I usually do them in chronological order. Sometimes there's an album that kind of just sticks out in a band's discography. Maybe that's known as like the classic one. I might just jump to that. That's what I did with 21 Pilots. We got into Blurry Face. And you've kind of known the story, right? If you've seen my other 21 Pilots reactions, you'd know that I was kind of a late bloomer with all this. I always kind of liked it, but as far as getting into the albums themselves, really you've seen my experience. And I know that the 21 Pilots fans are very diehard. I mean, and I can see why, right? There's a lot to 21 Pilots that I enjoy, but even still, a lot of people warns me that Scaled and Icy, if it's not the worst, it's kind of like the why'd you do that? At least that's what it seems. You know, I've seen this album cover being talked about as the album cover's great, but the album kind of stinks. I don't really have any frame of reference here, so that's what we're going to find out today, and that is the journey that I hope you come along with me on. If you want to catch any of these reactions live as they're happening, make sure you go ahead and click those links down in the description. Make sure you pay attention to when I'm going live. I'll make those community posts here on YouTube and for free on my Patreon. On my Patreon, you can find unedited early access reaction videos as well as some other things when I have the time to actually put it out. But your support goes a long way, and tiers start at just $1 for the reactions. Go ahead and check those out in the description as well. Oh yeah, and just click all the links in my description. You know, I mean, you're on your phone or on your computer or on your laptop, and you're on the touchpad or you're on your touchscreen device, and you're clicking shit all the time, right? You are constantly clicking on things. There is zero excuse why every link in my description should not be one of those things. There are way more excuses to click my links than there are not to. Hashtag clickmylinks.com. What am I doing, bro? I'm bidding. That's what we do here. Anyway, yeah, here it is. This is Scaled and Icy. I mean, the album cover looks so nice, right? This is something that belongs on like a tote bag that everybody carries around nowadays, right? I'm sure there's plenty of 21 Pilots Scaled and Icy tote bags out there, and I just don't own one. Yeah, I mean, look, I know a lot of people already say that 21 Pilots is bad, right? I was always kind of like a closet 21 Pilots fan, and it wasn't until I started doing reactions that I really started to get into them a little bit more intimately, figure out what the themes are, the narratives are. But everybody else already says that, like, they're bad, so, like, I got to imagine that the 21 Pilots album that everybody calls bad or is their worst one, I'll probably enjoy it. You know, Tyler and company just do too good of a job at making me groove for me to think that I'm going to hate this. But I might actually hate it. Who knows? I'm good. I'm about to listen to 21 Pilots. Well, I did some perusing on some rankings on the internet, and a lot of them did have Scaled and Icy ranked lowest. So we'll see here. We'll see. But without any further ado, this is Scaled and Icy by 21 Pilots. From the year of our Lord, 2021, released May 21st, 2021. 11 songs, and in a quick succession, it seems, 37 minutes, 42 seconds. First track, Good Day, Mate. The homie.
Shoot my life and shoot 'em up style. Her favorite movies, low key. Leave me in never know when the next one will show, it'll show. I'm alright. Won't you say you depend on the weather? My sunshine. To believe me, it's a good day. I'm alright. I'm alright. I think that I'm.
Yes, correct in a billion ways. I loved that. That was so good. I mean, instrumentally, compositionally here, I was not expecting like a kind of like a classic pop rock revival. Like I'm getting like very heavy Supertramp vibes off of this. Like, I mean, this is like something straight out of Breakfast in America or something like that. If you haven't listened to Breakfast in America by Supertramp, you're missing out on one of the greatest albums of all time. It is a little top heavy. The A side is so much better than the B side, but there's a lot to enjoy on both sides, and it's very much a just awesome relic of its time. But I think it still holds up. I think it still holds up, and I think they're calling upon some of that here, just in the da-dun dun da-dun dun, that just poppy kind of piano out in front of everything, and it fits the of what we're talking about here, right? Yeah, so what? Homie sued me, but you know what? It's gonna be a good day. Nothing's gonna get me down. But knowing them, and they go talk about some dark themes. This has to be satirical. This has to be this has to be using some type of subversion, right? And it's very lore heavy. And I see it here. Also, if you look at the lore, this album is supposed to be propaganda for Dema, the lore city, right? And I was trying to think of how they were going to do it. Obviously here, they're trying to stay on track with the yarn that they're weaving here, I suppose. The yarn that they're spinning. They're trying to stay with the yarn that they're spinning, with the narrative that they're telling, with the story that they're trying to get across. So I guess that's how it kind of plays into it. But if this is propaganda for the draconian authoritarian regime of Dema, then I think that this works out quite well. Man, dude, spring's around the corner here. It's the top of March, actually, kind of like close to the middle of March at the moment. But nonetheless, man, when all the trees are in bloom and I'm driving around, this is going to be the song I'm playing. It's going to be a good day. Dema these nuts. Blair, get out. Anyway, we're moving on here. This is Choker.
Choking on the circumstance, only smoking secondhand. Cut us open, spread us out, try us understand. I know it's over. I was born a choker, no coming for me. Never make demands, choking on the circumstance. Self-sabotage is a sweet romance. Seems like all is just a middleman. I know it's over. I was born a choker. Nobody volunteers to co-sign on my fears.
Loving the piano
I'll
so far.
sign on the line alone. Gonna change my circumstances now, 'cause I know it's over. I was born a choker. Nobody's coming for me. Only smoking secondhand. Splinter bird in your skin. Someone else
There it
can
is.
carve it out, but when you've got the pin, it hurts a little less, and you can even push it further in. When your body's screaming out, trust your mind's listening. Like a silhouette that you can barely see, as a shadow casts upon you.
So that was Choker, and yeah, well done. I enjoyed that for a multiple of reasons. The first of which being, you know, I was going to say like, oh, it's all kind of straightforward so far, but I was going to say that and then say right after, which is what I guess I'm saying right now, is that they know how to pace an album, right? It can get crazy. Just because we're in the first couple tracks doesn't mean that that's indicative of the sounds that we're hearing. You know, some albums do start out with maybe an overture of some of the things to expect as we get into the album, or maybe just a tone setter. That's not really the case here, because I was going to say this one's a little bit more simple, but even within the song, they're switching it up on me, maybe not in the most subtle of ways, but just making the song itself pretty dynamic. So it does start out pretty simple, and then, you know, that bass comes in and everything else drops, and then they bring the beat back for the chorus, or they bring it into the chorus, as we leave the song. Everything's produced really well. I'm loving how the piano sound in this. You know, I know Tyler and Josh probably in company, but it's probably more so Tyler, right, who does a lot of the production. I also see Adam Hawkins credited here as the mixer. So I don't know what they did in this one, but, you know, the pianos are not foreign to 21 Pilots compositions at all. But liking how they're coming through in this one.
Someone else can carve it out, but when you've got the pin.
He starts rapping. I want it like this beat right here. I could totally hear Tyler rapping on top of, right? Right, you know, like when he does it really fast. But we get in
When
here.
your body's screaming out, trust your mind's listening.
A little bit, right? I don't know if you'd call it rapping, but it is like this tempoed white boy sad rap. Now, here's my thing. It's not my favorite thing in the world, this kind of vocal delivery, but I like it for 21 Pilots. I think it is such their identity. You can't take it away from them. And especially when he's doing it quite quickly, I really do enjoy it then. Fits here perfectly, and I welcomed it with open arms. However, this shit isn't so indifferent to shit like Hobo Johnson. And Hobo Johnson is shit I've never been able to wrap my ears around. I hear it, and I almost want to actively avoid it at all costs. Are you 21 Pilots fans that are also Hobo Johnson fans that are going to tell me I'm wrong and stupid? And Jerry B's, I'm never going to listen to you again because you just talked mad smack on Hobo Johnson. Look, it's never been for me. But I like it here and I don't like it there. I don't know why. Do I react to Hobo Johnson and try to get through that? You know, let me know. Who is Hobo Johnson? Good. Shy Away. So this was the lead single off the album, as I'm told. Yes, Tyler, please shush me.
Don't circle the track. Take what you have and leave your skin on the floor. Don't you shy away. Manifest a ceiling when you shy away. All modesty. Don't circle the track. Just break the cycle in half and leave your skin on the floor. Don't you shy away. Manifest a ceiling when you shy away. Of you that isn't words, like a song you wrote, it's never heard. Don't you shy away.
So that was Shy Away, and I can, you know, easily see if this was the lead single because it is relatively simple here, right? Definitely more of a straightforward pop rock kind of a jam. Although I was going to say I haven't heard a lot of Josh yet, right? Not a lot of things that kind of comment about what Josh is doing on the set. And, you know, the second half of this song brings me more things that I just love about them as a band, right? You know, the directions that they want to go in with the elements within the production. So like here, right, as we're kind of closing out the song,
Don't you shy away.
bring in the second vocal track in where you're kind of just screaming. You know, whether he's singing, doing Hobo Johnson's speaking rhymes, or, you know, singing, screaming, rapping, whatever it is. I have always really appreciated his voice. To Josh's credit, you know, we do get this time change.
Just break the cycle.
Just a little bit, right? And he's not doing anything too fancy there. But as we go through the song, and it seems like they've kind of implemented that so far, just quick little timing changes, just to keep me on my toes, and I appreciate that for what is otherwise just the straightforward pop rock song. Lyrically, not a ton that I'm keeping close to the heart at the moment. Is this one? This isn't one of his. What's his lady's name? Tyler wrote "Shy Away" to inspire his brother, who was starting to get into making music at the time. Important context, by the way. This whole album was made virtually between the boys, because Miss Rona fucked everything up. If you know, you know. The boys had to produce this on lockdown, which hilariously mirrored the lore of them being trapped. That is very important context. A self-admitted mistake of this journey. I haven't maybe enveloped myself into the lore maybe as much as I should have. But also, and I believe I've said this during other 21 Pilots reactions, and if not, maybe other reactions, you know, I think the lore is there if you want it, right? It's better to have it and not need it, and need it and not have it, right? That is for everybody who's like really into the band to get even more into it and swim in those ideas a little bit more. But you can have phenomenal lore, but if the song itself doesn't really stand on its own, I think that's a problem. I think where 21 Pilots works for me is that I can kind of go in and out of the lore, find interesting things like that, you know, for which you tell me about. But at the end of the day, I just want to jam out to a song in the simplest way sometimes. But it's good that it's there. Coheed and Cambria is another band like that, right? That's another band for me where I like pretty much everything else. I'm pretty familiar with the lore, but I can tell you I don't know everything about it because it's just so fucking much. Moving on here, folks. The Outside. I feel like I've heard this before.
I'm already bored, singing up and down. They're not in.
Oh yeah, I've heard this
Heads
before.
are moving up and down. You got it. Everybody stand in line, one by one. Take a hit, join the club. Kids
Ooh. See, even though I've heard this before, I would have never caught like that guitar lick. I'm just not paying attention to it otherwise.
my eyes.
Alright, he's gonna start rapping here. I know he's gonna start rapping here.
I am a megalodon,
Yes,
feeling
bitch.
like a pond, swimming like a beast underneath. They be clinging on meteoric rise in prehistoric times. They're not in. Heads are moving up and down. You got it. Everybody up and down. They're not in. Heads are moving up and down.
I'm just having fun with this album. This is fun. I enjoy it. They're not freaking me out with, you know, a heavy, intense scream. Maybe we'll get there. They're not freaking, you know, Josh isn't freaking me out with just like insane blast beats or just like a really funky beat. Maybe he has been doing like pretty funky beats like time signature wise and I just haven't caught him. But no, this is like really fun so far. You know, we might not be getting into maybe the best themes or anything like that, but compositionally, I'm well in the mood for this. You know, I think Ride is my all-time favorite 21 Pilot song, but this one gets me in the oh, should I say, because I overuse it all the time, but here it's correct. The vibes, ladies and gentlemen. The vibes are so it for this one. Why was this one a single? This one should have been the single, because this one's like, I don't know. I feel like they do that slow, bumpy beat really, really well when they can. And then obviously that gets juxtaposed with Tyler's rapping, and if he's doing it at a quick pace, which I think he's kind of doing it here. Maybe it's all relative because I thought he was doing it kind of slow before. So maybe it just seems fast here. I don't know. I like this. I like this. Yeah, well, Scaled and Icy is bad, actually. No one asked you. No one cares about what you have to say ever. And I hope that you learn that lesson. Very overhated. Well, that's like, it's especially true in music, but like with a lot of other things, right? Something gets classified as being the best, right? And if you read my ancient blog, I talk about 7 covers that are better than Johnny Cash's cover of Hurt, right? Because everybody just says that's the best one. That's what everybody says. It's a great cover, but I think people just don't like the thinky bits of their brain. And they go, well, there's a lot of lyricals that say this is the worst one. So this is the worst one. I know what love is, right? It's like, I will not endorse that line of thinking. I feel like people base a judge on the cover. What is that they say about judging things based on the cover? Oh yeah, do it all the time. Saturday. Okay, we finally got to the stupid fucking song. I knew this was a 21 Pilots song. I did not know which album it was. I've kept myself from looking up which album it was on. All I knew was how long this album was, not which songs were on it. I've heard this song so many times. And I know I've already talked about how much I'm really liking this album and how much I like 21 Pilots really in general. They have this ability to make songs that I do not want to hear. And this is one of them. Now, looking at it in the context of the album, right, I've been having a lot of fun. Sonically, compositionally, this is going to fit right in, right? There's not a ton more I have to say on this song other than that, other than I've heard it a billion times. 21 Pilots can do a really catchy hook. I think they're really good at that. This is one of those that's catchy in the worst ways. On Saturday, on a Monday. They're just saying the days of the week. And I don't know. This one was just never it for me. I can't believe it's taken this long. From the moment I reacted to Blurry Face, I've wanted to talk about this shit. People also were reciprocating to the cheerful time because, remember, this was released during the pandemic. Not a lot of people were in the mood for overly cheerful projects at the moment. And this song is definitely a part of that, I would say. Like I said, it's going to fit into it, so I might not like a certain song on the album, but if it all fits, if it all goes together, and that's what I'm going to think is going to happen here, we shall see once I'm kind of reacting to it, really analyzing it for the first time other than just hearing it for 5 billion times and wishing I had only heard it about 1 billion. What's worse, this song or Friday by Rebecca Black? Yes.
Slow down on a Monday, not a sound. On a Wednesday, yeah, might get loud. On a Friday, but on Saturday, we paint the town. Things fresh, she said that I should change my clothes. I exaggerate the life we used to know. Slow down. Slow on the ocean floor. Feeling great. I can't feel the waves anymore. Did the tide forget to move? I just pray that I'm not losing you. Just to know, oh yeah.
Working on music?
Yeah.
I'll just go to bed. I'm tired.
I want to watch Friends with you. Slow down.
I like that part. That's a good fake one.
Saturday.
See, okay. I mean, it's like, it's...
Oh, yeah.
It is what it is. I mean, it's a very funky kind of a pop song. Like I said, they bring the groove in a really nice way, and I like when they get down. But I honestly, I think this is where I make an appeal to the 21 Pilots haters with a capital Z out there. You know, that maybe were like, oh my God, Blurryface is so goddamn overplayed. Like when they were coming up and I was trying to get into them, they were like, no, it's bad, it's overplayed, man. And I was like, okay, I won't. Right? Kind of gave in to that. This one, I've just heard so many times, but like everything else I've heard from them pretty much, I'm like, yeah, no, overplay that. That's good. Like, I think it was this and like Chlorine. Heathen's a little bit too. I just, those 3 tracks, I'm like, okay, guys, I need you to stop. But at face value, there is really nothing wrong with this song at all, other than it being popular and a lot of people liking it, which is why it's so overplayed. You know, and I know I haven't maybe been especially keen on the lyrics in this reaction. However, I think you could look at this and say, like, there's not maybe a ton here. I don't know how much of this is, you know, involving the lore here. But like I said, so much of it's just dedicated to, hey, Monday is Wednesday. Hey, guess what? There's Friday too. And I'm like, okay. Purposely funky. You know, I like, you know, when they take that pause and kind of just break it out a little bit. And moving forward with some of the, you know, instrumental sonic themes that we have been hearing, you know, even at face value, if these are quite simple tracks, they're still doing these things that kind of keep me on my toes a little bit. Fine. That's 21 Pilots. I've come to expect that. Very fair to Midland, if not pretty funky and groovy. I'm just tired of hearing it. Sipping on steak. Like, and then I think of like Vignette, and I'm like, oh, Vignette is a fucking masterpiece. You know? I'm like, oh my Lord. I think back to Trench, and I'm like, oh man, just how much of a emotional powerhouse that album was. And then but on Saturday. Don't miss these deals at Chevrolet, Honda, and Mitsubishi. 29% off MSRP. Get the new RAV4 with no money down. Get yourself a new ride at Honda, Chevrolet, Mitsubishi. Right? It is very like, dude, we're going to make some money off of this song. If you don't buy the new Tacoma, you're a fucking loser. You need a Tacoma to carry your laptop to work. I know you're not working with your hands, but you need this truck. You'll be the only one in your friend group with a truck. When they ask you to help them move, you'll say no, you're busy, and then you'll carry your laptop to somewhere. I don't know. I'm done with this bit. Never take it. Just a nice little milquetoast guitar jam here, ladies and gentlemen. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You know, hey man, us and them. Together we stand, divided we fall. A lot of money to be made off of dividing people, and that's what they're kind of talking about here. What I actually, lyric-wise, I found this to be quite interesting. You know, taught myself to play guitar, tearing it up. My advice on those two things that I picked up: better educate yourself, but not too much. I think this goes one of two ways. Maybe there is an official reason as to what this means, but this is what I'm going to go with. This is one of two things. Either he's saying something about ignorance being bliss, You know, maybe this is a call from the authorities, like, educate yourself, but not too much. We don't want you to know too much. There are certain people within power at the moment who love the poorly educated, and that's intentional, right? That is grossly intentional. But on the other hand, maybe educating yourself too much, maybe you have a lot of pride in that of how much you know, but maybe not knowing or maybe knowing too much gives you less incentive to experiment, to create things you wouldn't have otherwise, to kind of go outside of the box sometimes. You have to know what you're doing to a certain degree, but, you know, constraints and not maybe knowing certain things, that leads you to finding those things out. So I'm kind of conflicted here. Smart people don't like him. Yeah, smart people aren't doing too hot at the moment, unfortunately. That's just kind of how it works out. There's this great historical document. It's actually a video. It's called Idiocracy. That if you've not watched that, you should go ahead and watch it, because it's it got a little too real too fast. We'll be watering crops with Gatorade in no time. It's got electrolytes. Everybody's wearing Crocs anyways. But no, yeah, this one was good. I also really appreciated Tyler's melodies in this one. It's not that his voice is that great, because I think it is, because he takes it in all those different directions. It's definitely the melodies that he chooses, and, you know, throw in a double track of vocals, how he even harmonizes with himself. And of course that plays into the chord progression too, just whatever he decides to sing over whatever progression they're doing. I found that to be quite strong in this album, but it is also like just a very poppy album in general. But I get to see that side of Tyler a little bit more, and I really like it. You know, I'm an easy man to please. Mulberry Street, maybe something to say about the Twilight Zone, and or maybe just typical like idyllic America.
1, 2, 3,
Dude, this is just Supertramp. I swear to God, this is like 70s like pop rock. Now here it's a little bit more like Benny and the Jets, Elton John, but that's still the 70s pop rock. What?
Keep your bliss, there's nothing wrong with this. Keep your bliss, there's nothing wrong with this. Keep your sunny days out of our way. We're moving sideways. Welcome to Mulberry Street. Yeah, so move out of our way. We're pushing side. Finally realize that everybody relies on synthetic highs. They find someone to prescribe. Keep your bliss, there's nothing wrong with this. We just wanna feel it all. Keep your pills, save your breath, and don't ever forget. Get feet.
Slap me in the face, Tyler. I dare you.
Times are the best. And I'm on the edge. I'll listen for a song in the distance.
Bring me back.
Mulberry Street, so good to see you. Mulberry Street, so good to see you. Mulberry Street.
There's nothing wrong with this.
All right, I was laughing at the end, and I'll get to why I was laughing at the end. But first of all, it was repetitive as shit. At least I thought the chorus. I think the song is about a minute too long, maybe like 40 seconds too long. I don't. I love that. You know, thematically here, right? You know, seeing as that we already saw some propaganda from Dema, right? It seems to be something that they're kind of alluding to here, like, oh, just don't, we'll give you, we got pills, and just this is nice suburbia. This is just nice white bread suburbia here for you, and you'll be safe. Like I say, it was repetitive, and it might be going a little too long, but just doing these little timing things to build it back up. That's what they do. You know, and I think it might be even pretty easy to miss because maybe just the standard pop shit, you know, sticks out a little bit more in the mind because, you know, my reptile pattern recognizing brain, that's what it likes to see, you know, and that's what it more easily recalls. But
Mulberry Street, so good to see you.
now, towards the end of the song, we get just the instrumental playing us out. And it's still that like kind of pop rocky classic rock that I was talking about, Elton John, Supertramp. But more so than that, ladies and gentlemen, and if you will excuse me here momentarily, I figured out exactly what that reminds me of.
Some Weiber bras with pointed heels. Victorious Neil. Brand new spanking deal.
Right? You can hear it. You can hear it.
Good time.
Oh, we have fun here. Top actually did a cover of Benny and the Jets when they'd performed Mulberry Street live when they were first performing. See, I am the greatest reactor to music that's ever lived. I'd be clocking shit that I don't even know exists. It does exist, but I arrive at it independently. Formidable.
But you should know I might be cynical towards you, but I just can't believe that I'm for you. Yeah, I can. We just met, but could you take me everywhere you've ever been? I wanna see it all, no surprises. Yeah, you are formidable to me, 'cause you are more than I was at first, and I know you just left, but can I take you everywhere we've ever? 'Cause you seem to know it where you wanna go. Yeah, I'll follow you, but you should know I might be cynical towards you. I'm just worried my loyalty will bore you. Yeah, I can die with you.
Without a shadow of a doubt, one of the songs of all time. If you were to look up what a song is on the internet, there is a non-zero chance that this would be one of the search results. And a great example of what a song can be. That's about it for me. I mean, it's a poppy 21 Pilots song. I think In the Best of Light definitely still kind of follows the same kind of atmosphere that we've been going through with the rest of the album. Just more so poppy, fun, kind of light, very tip-tap your hat and toes too. You don't really tap your hat to music, but I digress, right? You could if you wanted to. Yeah, it was more so, be my person or you are my person. I got you, you got me. Hey. Was this the Jenna song? Yeah, this is the Jenna song. Okay, you know what? I'll say this. Everybody, round of applause for Jenna.
It's good shit, pal.
Yeah, I mean, through everything, right? And that's been kind of the case with a lot of the Jenna songs, is how we're just going, like, you are my rock. I need you. And that's cute. And I love the way that, you know, he always sets the time aside on an album and goes, like, I gotta talk about the lady. All right, this is Bounce Man. Jump Man? You should bounce. Jump Man.
Bounce,
Whoa. I liked that way too much.
Just let me know you're good on your amenities. Got soldiers on my pedigree. If you don't reply, old lady, no, you'll be in and out, man. Float you cold. Yeah, I told you all along, running away don't make you wrong. Before you bounce, 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 man, come to the house, man, we'll sing one more song. So long, so long.
I enjoyed this one, you know, and I know maybe it's like, okay, look, it's all been kind of poppy, fun, yada, 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 yada. Although I think this one does a good job at kind of demonstrating the other layer to that, which, you know, we've already kind of established that you can look at this album as like, you know, positive propaganda for the city of Demo, whatever it is. But here, you know, this is about, hey, you got to bounce. Like, I'll float you a couple $1,000, go down to Mexico. For as happy as it sounds, you know, there is this idea of an escape to get out of somewhere, and knowing that, you know, they might be kind of trapped in the city. I think that comes through quite well, and I kind of like the decision they made with the atmosphere and the tone of this album, really, in the sense of, sounds sweet, sounds nice, but is it really? Maybe not. And we've been through that a little bit with 21 Pilots in the past, but not as much as what they're doing here. Again, you know, I think the whole argument of the album cover comes up. It is very not indicative of that. Maybe they could have gone with a, you know, better concept art for that. Maybe they could have went in a different artistic direction for the release and for all the associated materials. But those are you people judging books by cover. Now, we've established you should do that all the time, but I digress. Maybe you're looking into it a little bit too much. For what it means to the album, yeah, I think thematically and even sonically here, I mean, it all works, and it's a little bit different. And also,
If they come knocking, pop, pop, pop.
I love
Ain't
that.
no
I love
stopping
that.
me.
Pop, pop, pop. I thought it was just going to be pop, 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 but it's pop, pop, pop. No chances. What the fuck is this? Is this that tonal shift? Is this Vince McMahon theme song?
Hey, get the door to blow you away. Flamethrower, you a switchblade. Feet planted on grip tape with my shoulder squared and my back straight. Got a good bass and a loose tongue, notorious in the octagon now. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, bum. We got people on the way. We want you home in one piece now. We spent some weekends on the grind, surveillance is outside. We see when you arrive, ride or die. My son spent some weekends on the grind, surveillance is outside. We see when you arrive, ride or die. My son. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, bum. Ba-da-dum, ba-da-dum, bum. We get bodies every day. We want you home in one piece now.
Okay, so I'm a little torn now. I know I've been kind of apologizing for this album the entire time, and I think I still will. But this was an odd choice. For as strong as the atmosphere and tone was through most of this, I mean, they didn't even really give us any time to set into this mood. There wasn't like an interlude or anything else. It's really just an about-face 180 here that they're doing. Obviously maybe alluding to more of the stranglehold that those in power have over you. We come for you, no chances. Given some really strong Vince McMahon WWE theme song, you got no chance. No chance in hell, as they said. This was fine. I wouldn't have called it back. It is a little goofy. They're not strangers to being goofy, but I'm like, okay. Well, the album's already been a little goofy, right? You could call this the goofiest album just because they're just having so much fun. They're making fun music. But they do call it back, and I'm like, what? But at the same time, I'm like, okay, I've really been appreciating all of the poppier stuff, the lighter stuff. And then you give me this, which I think is a little bit more indicative of that electronic sound that we get out of 21 Pilots that they do so well. And the sound itself sounds great here. So it's like I'm conflicted. It's like on one hand, this is so different and such an about face from everything else on the record. But on one hand, I'm getting the sound of 21 Pilots that I kind of come to expect, in which I invite with open arms. But we're looking at the album here, and it's just kind of weird. Maybe now everybody who like thinks that this is like the worst 21 Pilots album is like, see, we proved that you were an idiot. What do we say here on the channel? I'm not always right, but I'm never wrong. I'm never wrong. Well, yeah, this is the moment the Banditos are shocked back to reality. Bounce Man ends by saying so long. Okay, so maybe, thematically within the lyrics, there is a transition. Definitely not sonically. Bounce Man ends off by saying so long, so I think it fits perfectly. Yeah, I can agree with that from a thematic point, but I think I still stand on the... I mean, I think if you have ears, you know that this is just kind of unlike anything else. Scaled and Icy is an anagram for Clancy is dead, by the way. Would have loved to have known that at the start. Jumpman, 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 Jumpman. Okay. Redecorate.
Story of his life, seeing snapshots chronologically in line. Something told him he should look around and tidy up. He collected many things but never quite enough. Tried looking at it from a new perspective. Flat on his back, but he just hopes that they'd forgive. I don't wanna go like this. At least let me clean my room. I don't wanna live like this. 'Cause the last thing I want to do is make my people make this or redecorate. Blankets over mirrors, she tends to like it. She's not afraid of her reflection, but of what she might see behind it. She had plans to change her name, yeah, just not the traditional way. He said, I don't wanna go like this. At least let me clean my room. I don't wanna live like this. 'Cause the last thing I want to do is or redecorate. With the bells and the whistles scaled back like an isolated track, and he feels trapped when he's not inebriated or redecorate. I don't wanna go like this. At least let me clean my room. I don't wanna live like this. 'Cause the last thing I want to do is make my people make decisions, wondering what to do. Oh, should they keep it on display? Or redecorate.
First of all, this was a killer closing track. In a lot of the ways that 21 Pilots seems to stick the landing most of the time when they end their records. Obviously very lore heavy most of the time. But I think this is one of those where it kind of stands on its own. You don't necessarily have to know the lore. As Blair says here in the chat, I love being paralyzed by indecision. And that's really what it is. And I think you can even go a step further. Decorating is, it's stuff on the outside. It's stuff that you look at. Last thing I want to do is make my people make decisions, wondering what to do. Should they keep it on display or redecorate? I think you can go a lot of different ways with interpreting that outside of the lore. So like, to me, it's like, what kind of person do I want to portray? And then, because I give off certain energies and I can inspire people. But when you feel as though, your back's against the wall, what do you do? Sonically, I thought this one was really nice. I really like the rhythm on this one, but it's still so different for almost no reason. And I'm maybe even a little bit more torn than I was before, but I'm trying to give this album as much credit as I possibly can. And it's like everything's happy-go-lucky. Let's say it there. I'll defend that there were negative undertones within the happy-go-lucky, but it's happy-go-lucky at face value. And then all of a sudden it isn't. In life, you can't count on a smooth transition or a transition that makes sense into the next phase, whether you're coming from a good time to a bad time, when you snap out of it and just realize things aren't what they seem. And that's how I can kind of defend the tonal shift that we get in these two last songs. Is it weird that it's two last songs, that it's not more of like, the last third of the album or the last half of the album, that leave it for the B-side, let us stew in those ideas a little bit longer. But in life, you don't get those opportunities when you want them. It kind of just happens around you. You are constantly reacting to the stimuli. And so in that way, that does add another layer that I really kind of appreciate, I guess a little bit more involved with the lore, or at least whatever threads I am pulling from it. Under a certain lens, this album is a manic episode. Because I would know about it in grave detail, but I can see where you're coming from with that, especially because of those maybe more somber, less inviting undertones in those, more straightforward pop songs. I got a feeling here that I'm just kind of talking about the album as a whole. So, Scaled and Icy, not nearly as bad as any of you nerds think it is. Does it deserve an air horn and applause? But, I'm talking about this. I'm like, but wait, at the end of the album, I'm like, but wait, I kind of do understand it, or maybe I can see it in that light. And at the end of the day, this is my reaction. These are my interpretations. I'm not going to listen to the same songs that you listen to in the same way or feel them in the same way. And that might be just me not wanting to admit that, okay, this is the worst one. And maybe, poo-poo on me. Maybe I'm leaning a little bit too hard into that line of thinking. But hearing that, people maybe put this one a little bit lower than the rest of them, I can see those reasons. It doesn't even sound like a typical 21 Pilots album. It maybe goes back into some of their earlier stuff, but their earlier stuff wasn't even as straightforward, happy-go-lucky, maybe pop, or how I argue, kind of calls back to different eras within classic rock, Benny and the Jets, Supertramp, all that other shit. I don't give a shit about album covers most of the time, although I will say, to the point of people who are like, what the fuck is going on with the album cover, and then what I hear, there is something to be said about that, right? The album cover is your first chance to catch the vibe, to catch the tone of what an album could be. You could say this plays into the lore, they're trying to slay a beast, right? Or there's a big obstacle in front of what we want. There's this thing that we have to traverse. Just looking at the dragon, judging it for what it is. Hating on this album cover is asinine. I like it. It's a fine album cover, and I think a lot of people are in agreement on that fact alone. You let me know. But that's just to say about the, judging a book by its cover. Trash the Dragon, is that what they call it? Tyler was inspired to redecorate because of the fact... Tyler was inspired to write Redecorate because of the fact that one of his friends wouldn't touch the room of their son that passed away. Well, shit. See, the the sadder undertones are not lost on me, and shit, with how that sounded too, you could have made the song just about that, but I from what I gathered, it was about the lore. Clancy and Breach came after this, so the crash was spectacular, and I will still admit that is a fault of the journey that I've taken. I've done this so piecemeal. I've gone way back and forth. Maybe at the, up until this point, I probably would have grasped the lore a little bit more. But also, I know that you got to watch the music videos with those as well, and maybe do some other supplemental reading. And that's not really what we do here. I want these albums to stand on their own, or see if certain songs feel a little bit better listening to them in the context of an album than just isolated. I do kind of call it back to when I reacted to Chlorine, what album was Chlorine on? Was it Trench? Trench. And I think that, Chlorine kind of fit in to what Trench was gathering, and I thought by the end of it, Trench was a very, very solid album, especially from a narrative, atmospheric, tonal point. And I think this one is pretty strong as well, just not in the same ways at all. And I still don't like Saturday. I still, if we're talking about pop bops, I mean, outside. Take a hit, join the club. That's it. Mulberry Street. Bang. I thought, Good Day and Choker were good too. Early's just fun to listen to, reasons to get me back. We got Jumpman, which might be one of the best songs on the album, just like from an overall point of view. This idea that it can sound fun, but I think the undertones are anything but, and I understand that, you got to look at it in the context which it was released. It was, just kind of out of COVID. Maybe people didn't want, a more jovial sounding record. But I think if you look, even just read the lyrics a little bit, and I didn't even gather all that there was to gather in the lyrics, and I still kind of got it. It's not Breach, it's not Trench, it's not Blurry Face, but I don't think it's that far behind them, honestly. Thinking about it right now, I think Clancy may have stuck with me the least, but maybe when I do the inevitable 21 Pilots albums tier list, when I get a chance to really revisit it again, maybe I think differently on that. But this one's fine. I enjoyed it. If you get me to think about it a little bit, where I'm just doing like, well, you know what? I don't know. That's the tell of that's the tell of an album that at least is trying to make me think, or is doing interesting things, or things that I find interesting, to keep me on my toes a little bit, to think about it past the point of just listening to the song itself. No, this was pretty good. So that was my reaction to Scaled and Icy, probably the most controversial of the 21 Pilots releases. But you let me know your thoughts on the album and your thoughts on my thoughts on the album. As a reminder, if you want to catch us live, click the links down in the description. If you want to see this reaction or potentially more 21 Pilots reactions in the future, unedited and before they come out on YouTube, go ahead and check out my Patreon where you can get exactly that for just $1. Goes a long way to support the channel, considering none of these videos are monetized. I have like silly merch now. If you want to go click some of that, that's pretty fun. What else do I do? I used to be able to spin a yo-yo, but I'm actually not that great at it anymore, and I gotta practice the yo-yo. But yeah, I know it's been a long time since we got back into 21 Pilots. I'd like to do it at some point sooner than the last time I listened to 21 Pilots. But with all that said, I've been Jerry Bees. You've been awesome. Take it easy.
Diggity dog. Breaking. Diggity dog.